So maybe you're thinking about buying a Japanese maple, you've had trouble in growing them in the past, or maybe you're quite experienced. Lots of hints and tips in this video how to do it successfully. I absolutely guarantee if you follow the rules and give the plants what they need, then in many areas of the world, maples can be really successful. So why grow Japanese maples at all? Well, just look at them, they're absolutely gorgeous. Lots of variety of leaf shape, lots of variety of colour. The colours change over a season. And unlike flowers, which may give me something spectacular for a week or two, these are going to look absolutely fantastic from spring all the way through to the autumn, at which point they get even better, to be honest with you. Very important to note that Japanese maples is a huge umbrella term. There's loads and loads of different varieties, but what follows in this video are general guidelines, what trees to buy, how to plant them, how to look after them, and to achieve great results. And please note, if you don't put them in pots, this is what happens. So they can get very large indeed in the ground. Hi there maple fans, and in this series of videos I'll be sharing what I do throughout an entire year on a monthly basis. Please note that these months are based on UK timings, but of course can easily be adapted to anywhere else in the world. So stage one is of course obtaining your maple. The left hand one here is a seedling, so if you visit an arboretum or something like that you might find some. Or indeed you can get some seeds, which I won't go into, but they can be grown from seed quite successfully. Here we have a supermarket variety for £9 UK. Very nice little tree, very inexpensive, actually slightly more difficult to grow, but if you perfect your skills on that tree then the others will do very well indeed. This one is about £16 from a proper Acer nursery. They will have more variety and they're grafted so the roots are stronger. A slightly larger version there, probably £35, looking very nice indeed. And finally we have something probably worth about £45, something like that. But as you can see, this is a much more substantial tree. Which one should you buy? Really up to you. But whatever you choose, the ones to really avoid are the quite expensive ones, maybe £15–25, something like that, which are a tiny tree in a very large pot. It's very sad to see, really. So here we have a bit of video footage of one of my favourite maple nurseries in the UK, Bartholomew's in Dorset. And this is the smaller variety of plants that you can see. Excellent value for money, all very good trees, very good variety. But they also have a good selection of slightly bigger trees too. So again, you're buying the same tree, just older. And it really depends on how long you want to wait. My personal recommendation is start with the small ones really. Get used to growing those. They are slow growing though, so it's going to take a year or two to get to this size. But if you can wait and hone your skills on the smaller trees, then that can really pay dividends. So at these specialist nurseries, which I hope wherever you are in the world you can find, because it's a lovely thing just to come and visit really. Very good to see the larger trees as well that are available, and if you want sort of more instant impact and time is of the essence sort of thing, then these are a really good purchase. Very nice indeed. And indeed it's a bit of a learning curve, because if you buy the smaller varieties you can compare them to these. It's very difficult to see the shape and what the tree's going to look like when it's tiny, where this gives you a really good idea about where the tree's going to head in the future. And it's a lot about planning, to be honest with you. Everyone's got a budget, that's absolutely fine, but if you buy the right tree, if it's low and spreading, that's lovely. If it's tall and thin, then that's great for you. This fella here is a peaches and cream, which is absolutely gorgeous. This would be very expensive, of course, but just to say, there's a budget for everyone, and as long as you're buying a maple and enjoying it and learning, then that's absolutely key, really. So you've got your maple home, and the first mistake that people tend to make is straight away it's going to go into a bigger pot. Looking at the root system on this, it's fantastic, really healthy, doing fine. Would I go and repot this tree? No, not really. That would be really happy in that pot for a year or two. And the best time of year to repot really would probably be in February in the UK next year. So that's sort of early spring, just before or late winter really, before it leaves out, while it's still dormant. So I would absolutely wait. So my version of repotting this tree would simply to put the same pot into a larger one. So Japanese maples absolutely hate wet soggy roots, and that could be because you put too much compost around them, so that should be avoided, but also because maybe you put it into a pot and put it on the ground and the little hole, the drainage hole at the bottom, gets blocked up. So by all means you can put some stones in the bottom as well, that can help too, to add some weight to the base of the pot. But overall what you're trying to avoid is over potting, which I believe is the biggest number one killer of maples, to be honest with you. Here's one that I did wrong a couple of years ago. I've saved it, I've got videos on how to do that. But to be honest, it's the root system of a tree that's the problem. If you get the roots right, the top of the tree will follow itself. So here I have a little tree I bought a couple of years ago from a sort of nursery I showed you earlier. Tiny little tree, tiny little pot, lovely tree called Wendy. As we pan back there, many people instinctively would say, no, that pot's far too small. It really isn't. The tree's doing fantastically well, and I really would ask yourself, if the tree's doing great in the pot it's in, why am I repotting it into a bigger one then? There's new growth on it, it looks lovely. Repotting should be done, again, ideally when dormant, just before the start of a season, and only in small increments, so the tree has the chance to grow back into its new home, if you like, with a nice root ball to protect you through the following winter. Whatever you do, please don't put trays underneath trees. It's a surefire way of killing a tree because the roots are bound to get waterlogged. And just to say, if you'd like to come with me on my Acer journey, please do like and subscribe to my little channel, it really helps. I've also recently set up a Patreon site, so that's a great way of supporting me too, and help out with some of the costs of my excursions really. There's also the offer of some personal help, if you'd like it, either in a group format or on a one-to-one basis. So the second mistake that people commonly make is picking the wrong location for their trees. The sun actually sets behind the fence in front of us there, so this is great for morning sun and afternoon shade, which maples absolutely love. If you can't achieve that, then either construct a shelter like I've done here, or a shade. You can use fabrics, you can use bamboo like I've done, but actually creating a bit of shade in the garden, or maybe you've got an existing tree or things to be arranged in a way, that can be really beneficial, because many of these trees just don't like all day sun. However, if that's not the case and this tree is completely south facing and completely happy, so there's no need to give up. There are trees out there for everybody, and it's just a matter of sort of picking the right one for you. So a very common mistake also is that Japanese maples don't like wind, it dehydrates them. And what I've done here is use conifers, bamboo to protect them from the wind really. Hard landscape features like walls and hard fencing do not work, they really don't. What you're trying to do here is slow the wind down through branches. So if you've got traditional hedges, or you've got sort of other plants, that really is very helpful. Compost wise, I always use a mixture of 50% herbaceous compost and 50% mature plant compost. That works brilliantly in the UK, it really does. If you live in a very dry climate, that might change things. If you live in a very wet climate, you may well want a compost that drains more freely than that. But you've got to kind of measure that with your place in the world and the climate you're in really. It really is a compromise between water retention to keep them moist, but too much water retention to rot the roots. So another common mistake is overwatering. I've used a water meter here, I really like these, and it doesn't need watering, it clearly is okay. If the needle was towards the left hand side, I don't want it completely dry, but then I give it a thorough soaking to get that root ball really wet, and that method will make sure the roots get a chance to recover and breathe, and actually being slightly short of water, they'll grow new roots to expand into the pot. So really watering to a schedule is not a great idea. So in summary, pick the tree to suit your budget. Don't repot it until the tree needs repotting, very important. Use a good free draining compost mix and make sure that any excess water can escape. Pick a location with morning sun and afternoon shade. If that's not possible, construct that, or otherwise speak to people on social media perhaps and find the right tree for your location. Make sure wind is well managed with soft landscaping, not hard landscaping. Slow the wind down, that really helps. And let the tree decide when it needs watering. Use a water meter, I find them very useful. And just water on demand really, but letting them go slightly dry before re-watering, because that really does encourage root growth. There's also a great new Facebook group, Japanese Maples and Pines UK, in the description, so particularly if you're new to this hobby, that would be a really great place to start. I have loads of other videos in more detail on all of these subjects, So please think about liking, subscribing and joining the channel.